Highlights. We have not talked about that yet, so I wanted to go over that just briefly with you. In the manual, it's just a brief explanation. We used to have it in there. We're trying to get how many pages are in there. You can go on our website under Eyelights, and it has all this literature. How do eyelights work? What do they do? How do you determine the non-dominant eye? How can your eyelights help? And on and on and on. So the main thing that you need to know is if somebody has a brain, and Daniel Amen wrote a book, so change your brain, change your life. And with nutrition, max brain, and the other nutrition that we talked about yesterday, you can change brain function. Cranial adjusting, you change brain function. Cervical, restless body function, brain function. Detoxify the allergens and the heavy metals, you change brain function. The way you can help every day the brain to work better are the eyelights. It's so simple, it's incredible. So no matter what the person has, particularly ADD, ADHD, limited range of motion, like the brain won't talk to you, people fall asleep when they read, loss of memory, people think they have Alzheimer's, ADD, ADHD. If you do this, sometimes you change it. Kids that can't read, this little thing alone can change all that. You still do everything. You do the cranial adjusting, the spinal detoxification. But if you can allow the eyes to be reprogrammed with these lights, and those lights flash for about 3 seconds, and there's about 14 seconds they don't flash at all. And what you want to do is once you turn them on, you want to be able to go ahead and change those to where the whole eye is flashing together the way we teach it. If you want to take the neurology courses, they'll tell you other things. But I want to have the flashing on the non-dominant eye. You can see right here, the non-dominant eye side, if I was right eye dominant, was flashing. And you can see the bottom was flashing a little bit brighter than the top. See that? Well, that's set for me because I'm very right eye dominant, and then when and this is the way we'll check for it. Let's check. See right here facing the public, if you would.
The musculoskeletal and neurological lower.
The lower is more musculoskeletal versus exactly, but you're flashing both of them. You're actually flashing both sides. You're just concentrating on the neuromuscular when it's lower, and more sensory and upper brain when it's the other side. There's no wrong. But make sure you turn it off. You turn it off and on the left side. If you forget that, the battery goes dead, you get to buy a new one. You get them from my office, you get them from Walgreens or somewhere like that. But when you use them, and you can only change them while they're flashing. So if you try to make it change when it's not flashing, you're going to call it out. Mine are broke, they won't change. Remember, you have to wait till they're flashing again to put it back the way you want it. You keep pushing the right button until it goes back how you want it. Right? And then turn it off and go like that. Yes, sir.
You had talked at one time, I believe, about the Tonic Labyrinth reflexes in the eyeglasses. Do you remember anything about that possibly?
I don't. I don't remember what we were doing with it at that time.
You know, it was something about the right side of the neck always being puffier than the left side, and it was in the Tonic Labyrinth reflex. You used the eyelights to get rid of it somehow.
Well, yeah, I just don't remember specifically what we were talking about at that time. But anything to do with neck or eyes or head or memory, I use the eyelights. I mean, I have my own pair. They're out in my truck. They just travel with them everywhere. And I say, when I'm going to travel 6, 8, 10 hours, I'm going to put them on for a few minutes. Now I can wear them for 15 minutes at a time. When you first do it, maybe wear them 2 minutes. But Dr. Brett's treated a lot of post-stroke patients, and he found, and the neurological studies show, when you're post-stroke, you may only want to let the lights flash 1 or 2 seconds, 1 or 2 times, boom, boom, and that's it for the first time. But I mean, he can tell you the story a little bit better. But one lady brought her husband and had a stroke, and the stroke was several years old, and he couldn't raise his arm, and he's telling the doctor, he couldn't even pop. So they heard about Dr. Brett, the things he was doing, and they asked him, the wife said, do you think you can help my husband? He said, I don't know, but let's see. So he took the laser, and of course, at this stage, he didn't use the eyelights. He just went to the laser and lasered the brain, and the guy couldn't do it right inside his mouth. You know, they all had tears running down their cheek because they neurologically know it can be done medically. They said nothing can help him, but give up. And here he's tucking back in his mouth. He could speak. Yeah, Dr. Brett died where he could reach up and shake the MD's hand when he went, what'd you do? Went to a chiropractor. Oh my gosh. But the eyelights is what he put on him, so every day he'd be getting a treatment at home. But don't over-treat. There's mitochondria in every cell of the body. So I told mitochondria are now, max mitochondria are such an incredible product. They'll build that mitochondria up very inexpensively. And they say they have the mitochondria kit too, which is a little more wide systemic. Both are good. It builds the mitochondria, but the eyes have less mitochondria than anywhere. So if you're in damage, you can just stress the eyes out. And the eyes being one of the 5 factors of central integration. If you overstress the eyes, it messes the brain up. Careful. Real simple, tighten them, you go down. And just to show you the body and the eyes are involved here, I can just come over in his peripheral vision. I don't have you do anything, I just come in his peripheral vision, and he gets weak here. I come over his peripheral vision here, he doesn't get weak. I come over peripheral vision here, he doesn't get weak over here, he gets weak here. So that tells me, golly, just looking at this, he makes him go weak. Well, I want to balance him out, I want to help him, but particularly if he has some eye problems, he should be wearing glasses every day. Let's just keep you out. Okay, that's not very good. And we've adjusted 2 days in a row, and he's already locking back up. So I say we better use these eyes to our advantage, one of those 5 factors of central integration, and treat him every day to balance him. The first thing you have to identify is which is his dominant eye. Back there on the TV, there's a little red spot on the eye. You see that? So go like this as far as you can. Everybody do this. Look at something far away. It's not going to move. And go like that and look at both eyes wide open and see it. Okay, with both eyes wide open, I now cover his left eye. Can you see it? Yes? When I go here, can you see it? Okay, can't see it on the left eye, he sees it on the right eye. So which eye dominant is he? Right eye dominant. Okay. The left eye is the one we're going to treat. Fair enough? All right. Now, I want you to ask yourself a question. What seems contradictory about that with what my muscle testing showed me just a second ago? Well, his shoulder for right eye is the one that got weak. His dominant eye went weak when I checked him. That's bass active. So what do you think's happening? I think whatever these heavy metals or whatever he's picked up are part of the problem. This is why I've got to the point where I'm always going to go to heavy metals first. And uranium's showing up today. 1, 2 drops. You say, wait a minute, you're showing me highlights, all of a sudden you jump to metals again. I'm trying to tell you, if you don't do the heavy metals, you're chasing your tail, donkey. Oh, I'll tell you. Now let this relax. Okay. We just fixed the shoulder. I don't know what you got into, doctor. You just got to stay on those metals every day. So we now fix that, and when we come back here now, I don't know what's going to happen, but I suspect I know. If I come back here now, it's not a problem. Where's the problem? Where it should have been. On his non-dominant eye. So we're going to treat the left lower eye. Anybody not follow what I just did? Everybody cool?
I have a question related to what you did. So what happens when you find people with left dominant eyes?
Treat the right eye.
You treat the right eye.
Sure.
I guess what I'm asking is if they come up with a left dominant eye, is that a sign to you that you should treat the metals right away?
Well, but some people are left dominant eye, period.
That's what I'm also asking.
Yeah, they are. I mean, you can't change that. You don't want to change that. Some people are just flat left dominant eye, just like their left-handed left foot. But when you have cross dominance, it's a problem. What if you're right-handed, left-footed, and left eye dominant? No wonder you would be, right? She said she didn't even want to have kids. She wouldn't do that to them. Come on. It'd be so cute. Yes, sir. Cyan?
Yeah, I'm left dominant.
Yeah, talk a little more about that. Yeah, I get that scenario too.
Cross dominance?
Yeah,
Well, it's not the way it's designed to be. It's designed if you're going to be right-footed, your right hand and your right eye dominant. So if you're cross dominance, you're like right-handed, left-footed, and left eye dominant, and your brain's doing this all the time. It never settles in. So somebody like that, you would really want to check them very frequently. Do the heavy metals first, and I think your point is if you do the heavy metal, get that out of them, they're going to come back into probably proper dominance. But I don't know where he got so much garbage going on in his system here. Question?
There was one thing that Dr. Riley just brought up, because I know a lot of doctors have problems convincing like patients and what heavy metals are actually in. So there is a one-page sheet that we created that's on the website under doctors' resources and doctors' FAQs. It's a one-page and it has what the metals are and the one that you did up, what they're generally in, and then all the symptoms that they can or there's a PDF that you can print out. And give
Say,
your patients.
Carrie put this up for, actually Randy helped me do the research and find it. Carrie put it up for us. So if you didn't read that puzzle piece, shame on you. But it's archived so that they go into puzzle pieces.
No, this is just a one-page sheet on heavy metals, on what heavy metals are in, and then the symptoms. It's under doctor's resources. on
Under
the
doctor's resources. But we
Oh, is that
also
working?
print it under one of the puzzle pieces too. So under doctor's resources, go to that, print that out, and look at it. So,
How do you explain people that are ambidextrous?
how do you explain to people that are ambidextrous? I don't know. Randy's ambidextrous, our little girl's ambidextrous. We still don't know if she's right-handed or left-handed, and she doesn't care. I mean, she can do everything. Randy can too, pretty. She writes better with both hands than I can write with both hands and feet. They just are. Their brain's more developed, I think. It's probably a great deal.
Just why would it be normal for a man, but yourself?
Some people are black, some people are white. My boys can't jump. It's not my fault. Talk to God. I mean, I think some people are just highly developed in some areas, and some people have photographic memory. Mine photographic. I mean, it's different. You just have different gifts from different people. It doesn't mean they're abnormal. It just means they're different in that gift. And some people, I think being ambidextrous is much more highly developed. I mean, I'm so right-handed it's pitiful. I'm right leg, right eye, right to shoot left-handed. I wouldn't even be able to see anything. I'm very good right-handed. Don't mess with me. So, but some people can just do both. It's just, I think that's just a different level of development, different kind of thing. Like literally, it's just white, black, green. It's not a problem if you're ambidextrous. It's just too different. But even if you're ambidextrous, you still be right eye dominant or left eye dominant. It won't be both. Even though Brandy's cross dominant, I mean ambidextrous, she's very right eye. When you check her, always right eye, never comes in left.
So is there a quick way to check for cross dominance?
Sure. Absolutely. We just found out he's which eye dominant?
Right.
Right eye dominant, right? And then, okay, see if you can get something. Which eye, if you shoot a gun, what do you shoot? Right eye. If you kick a football, what do you kick? That's all you have to do.
Okay.
Just gonna, which way do you shoot? Which way do you throw a ball? Which way do you kick? What do you do? So he's not cross dominant. Now, he was before because he mixed up. Okay, we want time. You see how I used to have certification in 5 days? We think, what are you do for 3 whole days? Jeez, we're just getting more. There's so much to learn. It's so fun. But get the bits and pieces, and then the rest of your seminars will keep filling this up. But we're only going to be able to do a few 3-day seminars next year. So make sure you come to homecoming. Put homecoming on your chart right now, because we're going to have a lot of really cool stuff coming up for that. Alrighty, so we need to go work here. When you have him here, we now know that he is right eye dominant, only the left eye checks weak, and we're going to treat him for the lower part because that's the side that gets weak. Which way do I push to turn the eyelights on? Left side. And then I just push over here until I get the whole left eye on, and the left eye, oops, I hesitated there a little bit. So I have to wait till it flashes again. And then I keep going until I get the whole eye on. It'll always be bottom brightest first, and you push again, it'll go to the top brightest, and just circle around again. So I can put this on him. And then how long do you leave it on him? Okay, you want to go down? Okay, so he's weak here, and he'll go strong after flashing a couple of times, and then you can leave it on until he goes weak again. And when he goes completely weak, that's when you want to back it off. But in the olden days, before we understand that there was a heavy metal problem that caused us to not be able to have the brain go on display, this is what we had to do. After we flashed a couple of times, then we could really go in and we could find out which side the cerebellum was off. Since we already have this opened up twice. What do I mean opened up twice? Well, I gave him uranium, and I gave him the eyelights, so I can find it. Which cerebellum was weak? Right cerebellum, so I'm going to come here, and then if I would have to muscle test where I can visually see it's the parietal. And here's the temple, and here's the temple. Occipital, frontal. How do you know it's clear? Well, I'm watching it clear. Building, you watch it, just shucking and jiving, just went strong there. It was weak up here, and go here. So the longer you do this, the weirder you get. You just feel it. you'll see that energy shift. And yesterday, the marker really got good at seeing what the energy was, really good. Now we come here, he's not in the weeklies there, so we can continue to do that. But in this particular case, I'd only have him do 3 minutes to start with. Because the patient didn't have a weird eye problem. I want him to wear these every day, like his life depends on at least twice a day, 3, 4, 5 minutes morning, night. Maybe take the eyeplex, rebuild the eyes up that way, keep that training balance. All right. Any questions about that?
Would you at some point, maybe if you see someone who's right-handed with left, dominant eye, switch at some point?
No, they can switch. They can actually change to eye dominant. So I'm going to check this person really close. I would never want to send this person home and say, do this every day the rest of your life. I'll see you at your funeral. It's not going to happen. You say, look, we really want to watch this thing. Do not continue to use these eyelights indefinitely. We want to check you once a month. And I really explain this to patients too, and I say, a lot of these things we're doing, we're sending you home with eyelights, we're sending you home with nutrition. It can change. So don't just keep doing things locally, or just keep taking your vitamins forever. Get in once a month. We'll say you're on vacation or gone 6 months. We'll get in as soon as you get back in. And let's check this out. I mean, how often are you supposed to go to the dentist? Every 6 months. How do you know that? They told me that. And you know what? We all know that, don't we? We know that because they've educated us. And when you go into the dentist and you have to have some dental work done, do they apologize for that? Are they like the chiropractor, like, I'll pay for it. Just come here. That's what chiropractors do. The dentist says, we got to pull this tooth out, that tooth out. That's $2,000. We need to put an implant in. That's $2,200 a piece. And really, this cavity's dropped down, so we got to put actually a bone back up in there. It's going to be $7,500. I'll let you talk to the girl today. Take care of it all today if you want, or she can do your credit card, whatever or something. Can you imagine a chiropractor saying it's going to be $7,500 today? They'd hyperventilate. You'd have to take him to the ER. But
I have a question for Scott. How are you feeling?
Oh, there's it's tightening up.
yeah, he had a lot of stuff going on right now, so that's it. We don't want to push that any further. It shouldn't tighten up. It should feel better, but I probably left it on so long. You're probably going weak when I'm talking instead of going to it. So let's go ahead real quick and see what other metals showed up. Yesterday, he did not react to iodine, but I just felt that shift. He's not tolerating his iodine right now. Yesterday he did. So we have halogen. It's right here. How many drops? 1, 2 drops. I mean, how many drops? 1, 2 drops. Sure. Your body's saying right now, if everything you've done, we can recheck a few things. You wouldn't have told us that if he wasn't ready for a shift. You come back and check it out, no longer make him weak. What will happen is his brain will now be on display in a different area. Why don't you help me hold that right there? Back to the occipital area again. Listen funnel. Like a brainstem. Or it's about how fast it should move with 80 milliwatts of power. You're shooting quite a bit in a hurry. Good. We come back now. We know you'll be able to tolerate, you'll be able to tolerate the iodine without any trouble. And the halogens are really important. The next thing I want to do is find out what other heavy metals the body wants to work on today. Is copper. How many drops? 1 drop. Mark that. How many drops? 1 drop. So when I give him homeopathic copper, that means he's deficient in copper or excess? This is homeopathic copper. What does it mean when I give it to him? He's in excess or out of balance. That's right. These heavy metals are terrific, but copper, you have to have a certain amount of it. But maybe it could be copper, but the copper's in the brain, not in his arteries where he wants it. So it's really hard to know exactly what the body's telling you here because there's such a wide spectrum effect that we're helping here. Now it's cerebellum. Cerebellum. I've been doing unwind, so why don't I go down to quantum and just do a little bit for energy? I'll have you hold that for me. Here. Take that to here. Back every time we show the occipital lobe, which is brain, so this the heavy metals are really affecting his brain. Now you're going to start to feel pretty dry. But we opened up with Valium to start with, it's a heavy duty tube. Valium, halogen, and copper, I mean, that's pretty heavy stuff for the nervous system in here. So, and I think I left the highlights on your souls as long as I was talking. I'm sure you blew a week before I checked it. The teaching mode here. But interestingly enough, he was back, even though we balanced him on the machine, he was like this until we gave him the heavy metals. The heavy metal on the machine, you're actually going to open up new things. And it's going to say, wonderful, boy, thank you very much, but now I better check this because this is going to go. It's just, we're able to address things all 6 ways faster now than we've ever been, with the Simon barrage, with the structural correction, with the brain balance, with the, not allergy machine in California, but in the energy balancing, energy evaluation machine. Everywhere other state, it's allergy machine. California's an energy balancing machine. And you can just push him. It's a journey, not a trip for him. This is a weird thing he has. Really strange.
Good question. You're doing halogens, heavy metals, percussive, adjuster, cranial nerves, where do you throw that in?
Anytime. Anytime. And in your case, you can check for cranials once a week. But at any point, you can do that. And you're going to find the first time you're going to have 5 or 6 or 9 or 10, and then it's going to get less and less. So you can just quickly go through the checking and do it. But it doesn't matter at what point. Anytime during that visit, in his case, at least once a week, those should be checked. Okay, we're ready to go. Just a couple other quick things I want to go for.